Hey, core reporters, welcome back to my channel. Listen, I dropped 2 Love is Blind videos yesterday, but I needed an extra day to go back and rewatch the Zonab and Cole scenes so that I could cover Zanab correctly. Because let me tell you guys, this woman took us in for a wild ride. This woman played us all. This woman is so ruled by her insecurities that she allowed us to believe things that didn't even happen happened. And we, the foolish, sympathetic viewers, believed her. Let me tell you, if you have the time, go back and rewatch Love is Blind, and you're going to be floored seeing their relationship play out. Now that we know, if I knew then what I knew now, like now that we know, especially with that story about the oranges and whatnot, you're going to be mind blown by just how much this woman played us the entire time. Listen, I first realized that there was something off about her in episode 9 of the show when Cole tries to cook her dinner. He surprises her by cooking her dinner. It was unseasoned chicken, some vegetables, and some sweet potato fries that weren't going to be ready until 2 hours after the chicken was ready, okay? And she was understandably upset. That I got, like, come on, dude, like, you should know how to cook. Stop it. Like, you're, and then throwing the Nerf guns around. Like, I get her being irritated there. I cannot even fault her. But just take a look at the way when Cole brings up her extremely hot and cold personality, and the way that she acts like everything in the relationship is his fault. He's a total slob. He's this, he's that, and she's perfect. Watch how she doesn't accept responsibility for a single damn thing. As always, I am not allowed to play audio or else I'm going to get striked and this video is going to be taken down. So just read the subtitles, please. Okay. So this happens after the dispute in the kitchen, and Cole sits her down and says, Zanab, I feel like I can never do anything right for you. You criticize literally everything, and you can see in his eyes that he's tired. He's broken at being critiqued all the damn time. So she says, the weird things that you do, right? They aggravate me. And so he's like, what do I do? She says, you throw towels on the floor. Cole responds with, will you throw towels in the bathtub? And instead of acknowledging that, she goes, yeah, because I picked them up off the floor and at least they're in the bathtub. I'm sorry, you guys, but if I've got towels in my home, I prefer to put them on the floor in the corner of the bathroom or whatever so that I could pick them up and put them in the washing machine, which is in the bathroom. I would not put them in the tub. To me, I find that disgusting, okay? So I think that is the first example. She complains about something, he complains about the other thing. And instead of acknowledging and listening, because Zanab does not listen to listen, she listens to fight back. She listens to angle herself as a victim. She goes, yeah, at least they're not on the floor. I picked them in the bathtub. Well, to you, it's better in the bathtub. To Cole, it's better on the floor. Maybe you're both right, and you need to discuss how you can come to a happy medium. Personally, I'm Team Cole. I do not want nasty, filthy towels in my tub. I would rather them be like behind the door on the floor or something like that. Here's the next thing. Cole tells her, oh, that's so much better. And she just goes, oh, well, you leave the dishes out. You let the trash become overflowing. That's awful. Cole does not listen either. Cole just listens to retorts and become defensive. But here's the thing. Cole has been picked at this entire relationship, and we're going to go through it episode by episode because, again, I rewatched. And so at this point, he's like, Zanab, you're not perfect. He's trying to get her to understand she's not perfect. She, too, has nasty habits that irritate him. And instead of being passive-aggressive, he just kind of like lets it go. But she just keeps diving in on him. So he's like, well, what about you, Zanab? You leave hair in the toilet. And then she goes, yeah, that's where my hair goes, okay? And the next person who pees can go ahead and flush it. Well, what the hell is that? I have never, listen, I've had a million different hairstyles and whatnot, and I do not have a habit of leaving my hair in the toilet. I don't understand what that means. And see, that's the thing. That at the end of the day, the message here is, Zanab, you two are not perfect. You're messy as well. You leave towels in the bathtub. You leave your hair in the freaking toilet. Can that not clog a toilet? I'm not sure. Because I know it clogs bathroom drains and the sink drains and stuff like that. So I assume it's not a good idea for the toilet either. And number two, Zanab, if you see your hair in the toilet, why are you not flushing it? I'm sorry, but that's nasty. You know, this is the thing with her. She cannot accept responsibility. It always has to be Cole's fault. She's had it so made up in her head that she's so much better than him. She's so much smarter. She's so much more mature. And that's why she has this really pompous, arrogant, kind of nasty attitude to Cole that Cole grew sick of at this point. Okay. So I know I started with episode 9, but we're going to go all the way back. So don't even worry. In episode 3 at the villa, after they meet for like the first time, they're in the jacuzzi, and Zanab starts talking about like, she starts on this very negative conversation. And one thing that's kind of noteworthy about Zanab that's worth mentioning is that the other girls did say about her that she was someone who could suck the energy out of a room, that she was very negative. So I don't think that Cole's experience with her is very unique. And if you go back and rewatch, like, they're meeting for the first time, they're all lovey-dovey, and she's like, oh my God, like my makeup is getting so bad in this hot tub. My eyelash is like falling off. I can't wait to wipe all this makeup off. By the way, Cole, I snore. I wear a mouth guard. So unsexy. And Cole literally tells her, listen, Zanab, this conversation is boring. Can we talk about something fun? Like, he's so childish. It's kind of funny. So he starts asking her like what her favorite animal is and whatnot. And then they switch the conversation over to that. And then again, she's not happy with that conversation because it's not negative enough for her. So Zanab starts on this other kind of tangent to try to find something else a little bit more negative to talk about. And so she complains about the jets in a hot tub. She's like, oh, these jets are so annoying. They're practically like pulling my bathing suit off. Cole, he rolls his eyes, but stays nice. And then she continues. She's like, oh, I'm getting my hair wet in this hot tub. And again, he's just like trying to keep it in. But at this point, he's like, oh my God, this woman is a little bit annoying. Okay. And so here's another thing that I noticed as well, guys. I was wrong about the way I interpreted Cole telling Zanab that she looked like a different person without her makeup. When you actually go back and you re-watch that scene, what actually happened is that he tells her that, and he says that, and she goes, what, really? He's like, well, I'm just joking because you said that earlier. So it was just like second-degree humor. There it goes to the whole Zanab making self-deprecating comments. It's just something that she really gets off on doing. And then he says, no, I'm just going off of your comment from earlier, but no, listen, you look gorgeous. You look absolutely beautiful. And so you would think that everything would be okay at that point. But when Zanab climbs into the bed with Cole, she brings it up again. Like, do I really look like a different person without makeup? Girl, stop it. You're the one who volunteered that out of nowhere. He teased you about it, told you look beautiful. Drop it. Stop with the negativity and the low self-esteem and the fishing for compliments and all the stuff that you do that can be, considered quite exhausting. I really do understand how he got tired of her. So they're still in bed in the scene, you guys. And Cole, he tells Zanab, he literally volunteers this to her. He says, Zanab, I am so attracted to you. And what does Zanab do? Zanab goes, really? Even though I have no eyebrows when I don't wear my makeup? And so they just go to bed at that point because, again, Cole was someone, if you focus on him, he's someone who's very playful, who's very positive, and who loves to have fun. So he doesn't like that nature of conversation. So he just, goes to bed at that point. And so later on in the episode, we get a taste, like this is a preview of the stories to come when it comes to Zanab and Cole, you guys, right? So later on in that episode, we find out that they slept together intimately for the first time ever. And Zanab is upset the next morning because she feels as though Cole got up a couple hours early in the morning and didn't talk to her. And, when I was watching that, I was like, well, wait a minute, like, if he got up, it might mean that he wakes up earlier than you. I think it's perfectly normal for the early bird to get up and leave the other person to sleep. Like, I don't think you should wake up the next person just because you get up early, like they'll get up on their own time. Then you'll have your tea or your coffee or your breakfast or whatever together, as a couple. And then I was thinking, well, Zanab, if you didn't speak for hours in the morning, it doesn't just mean that Cole didn't speak to you. It also means that you didn't speak to Cole. right? Like you are not the 1000% victim in here, you know, like you just did not speak to each other. And that is a you thing as a couple, the both of you. And we didn't know what Cole was doing for the couple of hours. So maybe he was outside of the bedroom and thought you were still sleeping. So if you're in bed, you haven't made a peep, you're just on your phone, maybe you're reading, maybe you're doing whatever, he wouldn't know that you're awake. You know what I mean? I felt like that was like another thing of her kind of misinterpreting things and not accepting responsibility for her side of things in that situation. And not to mention, but she started behaving very, very, very passive aggressively towards him in order to punish him for ignoring her that morning. And I kind of felt like, Zanab, this is very, very childish. Like Cole tries to reach out to her like emotionally by writing on the shower window, Zanab loves Cole. And she's like, do you see this? He's like, do you see this, Zanab? And she's like, yeah, I see it. And then she just keeps going on and on. You know, ironing her clothes or whatever. And then later he goes, hey, like, do you still care about me? And she goes, I do. Being passive aggressive again, instead of being the grown woman that she is and saying, listen, I do. And like, we're understanding his emotional bids. These are emotional bids too that he made to her. And instead of seeing them, she's stonewalling him, brickwalling him, and not like engaging with them. You know, she's giving him the cold shoulder. She's rejected him twice already. And instead of talking about what hurt her or what offended her, she's being cold towards him and punishing him by giving him the silent treatment, which is a toxic behavior. I'm sorry, but it is a toxic behavior. I just didn't understand why she would not use her words. Zanab, if he upset you by not speaking to you, why are you not speaking to him? You know, why don't you tell him, listen, I wish that when you got up, you would have checked to see if I was awake. You would have brought me coffee or tea to bed, or you would, you know what I mean? You would have asked me to do something. Like it doesn't sit right with me that we've been up for hours and we haven't spoken to each other. Like that would have kind of gotten everything kind of going and allowed them to find a solution for their problem, you guys. So now in episode 4 of the show, we open up with, again, Zanab being difficult, Zenith being heavy. Listen, you guys, I've really struggled with finding a title for this video. As of right now, I still don't know. I've got a list of titles here. I'm thinking, should my title be Zanab is cold and calculated because of the way that she did him at the wedding and the way that she portrayed him at the reunion? Should it be that Zanab revels in negativity because I swear to God she does? Should it be Zanab's insecurities destroyed Cole, destroyed their relationship? Zanab is a miserable person. Zanab is exhausting. Zanab lied, but I don't know. You know, I'm struggling because there's just so many red flags I'm seeing on Zanab's part, like watching this thing back, that I am absolutely floored and I don't know what angle to take. I'm still struggling. So, you know, when we're talking about, you know, the potential title being Zanab is miserable, let me tell you, you guys, like you already heard a bunch of these things, right? Her being like, I don't want to get my hair wet. Oh, my makeup is getting so messy. Oh, this thing is blowing off my thing. Oh, I snore. It's not sexy. Oh, I wear a mouth guard. It's not sexy. Oh, I look like a different person without makeup. And now in episode 4, she's upset because he said that they had a really, really good night instead of a great night. And then it's just so much, you guys, okay? It's just so much. And one thing I have to tell you, I believe this happens in episode 5 or so, but all of the people, or later in episode 4, all of the people, they go to play some games, right? Like cornhole, tossing or whatever. They go to play chess, they go to play ping pong, and she's just really difficult with all those games as well. She's just not a positive, happy-go-lucky person that Cole wanted to find, or how she might have portrayed herself in the pods. So here's one thing. Do you remember how at the wedding, when she was walking away from Cole, Zanab claimed that he destroyed her. He single-handedly destroyed her self-esteem. I'm sorry, Zanab, but you never had self-esteem to destroy. Let's be honest there, but I digress. Listen, Cole was crappy, and we're going to get onto that. And I still do have that video about Cole enjoying negging Zanab. But Zanab, you did some nasty things to him too. And he actually opened up about this very early on. In fact, I think that the real reason, and this is another potential title for this video, I think that the real reason that Cole wound up losing attraction to Zanab is because of her passive aggressive nature. But I'm going to get into that because I'm kind of getting a little bit too far ahead of myself at this point. But do you remember in this episode when it came to him trying to cook a dinner for her and whatnot, and her kind of, you know, not going along with it and allowing him to mess up on his own kind of thing with his unseasoned chicken. Another thing I noticed is that, you know, he pours her a drink, And then she goes, can I have a stemless wine glass? And a stemmed wine glass. And then she starts kind of lecturing him about why white wine should be in a stemmed wine glass. And then, you know, she starts passive aggressively asking him questions about the sweet potato fries. And then she just takes over the whole thing. She passive aggressively asks him about like the tongs. But that's not to excuse Cole. I'm sorry, but I am not going to praise this grown ass man for not being able to season chicken. First and foremost, unforgivable. Second, for not using tongs to flip the chicken. I don't want the chicken grease all over my damn kitchen. You know, I could totally see her irritation with him, but there is a way to say things. There is a way to speak to somebody, especially your partner, your fiance. And Zanab always chooses violence. She always chooses passive aggression. And I don't think it's great. So like, for example, when Cole goes ahead and starts seasoning the chicken, what does she do? She goes, well, that's great. Okay, we've got enough seasoning on this end. You know, she just is very snippy with him, and I just don't understand it. But again, this is the same man who pulled out a Nerf gun at his big old age and starts shooting Nerf guns, dirty Nerf gun balls, as she's cooking, as the chicken is frying, you know, in that direction. I was like, well, is this guy okay? Because he really is difficult. You know, I feel like both of these people. One thing I noticed, about Cole and the reaction to him ever since the reunion and Zanab's extremely toxic side came out is that a lot of us are trying to rewrite history and pretend that Cole did not have a lot of shortcomings himself. Cole is a handful himself as well. Okay, you guys, I think that both of these people are not ready to be married or in relationships if we are going to be honest with ourselves. But one thing that happened during this dinner scene is that Cole asked her so many times if she still wanted to get married. She kept reassuring him that she did. Eventually, they get into an even bigger blow-up fight. And she leaves and comes back and says, listen, you know, if you do not want to marry me, Cole, don't leave me looking like an idiot at the altar. Tell me before, just for her to go ahead and blindside him a little bit later on. Listen, Zanab, I felt like that was very cold. I felt like that was very calculating. I felt like she did what she did to Cole at the altar to pay him back for his attraction to Colleen. And one thing I can tell you guys from rewatching this in one sitting, exclusively to see their scenes, I can tell you with almost 100% certainty that Cole's attraction for Colleen was from her bubbly, positive personality that he saw in real life. He was so attracted to Zanab, you guys. Like, he used to tell Zanab all the time that she was beautiful and that he was attracted to her. But then as you see in this series of screen grabs I got from episode 4, he tells the guys that she's just so passive aggressive. She beats me down. You know, I'm attracted to her, but it's like everything I do, she's got a passive aggressive comment. And then when he says smiley, bubbly, happy, beautiful Colleen, he just envisions himself with a positive, pleasant woman. And he has said this stuff to Zanab many times, that she's just an unpleasant person. She's not positive. She's not fun. She's not playful. She's none of those things, right? Like, how many times did he tell her that he thought that she was a miserable person? I really think that that's what his lack of attraction to her honestly came down to, and that he was having, well, it's not even that he was having a difficult time expressing that. He literally said it multiple times, but I don't know. Like, I think sometimes he convoluted it with like ethnicity or this or that. Like when he made that comment, like about the Lily versus a Zanab, the names and stuff like that. Like, at the end of the day, Zanab is a beautiful woman, but she also is a miserable woman. She also is an insufferable woman, in my opinion, personally. She's like heavy, like emotionally heavy, you know? And I think that that is truly what caused him to lose his attraction to him. And not only that, but Cole very clearly articulated early on that she was really bringing him down, that she was criticizing him at every turn, and that he felt like beat down. He felt diminished. He felt like she would make him feel stupid. So again, when Zanab goes up there at the wedding and does this whole "woe is me, you destroyed me" speech, I'm like, wow, the complete and utter lack of self-awareness for you as an incredibly passive-aggressive woman who cannot accept fault for anything, who cannot say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't leave the towels in the bathtub. Maybe we should come up with a solution for that. You know what, maybe I shouldn't leave my nasty ass hair in the toilet. Let me cut that out. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't leave my hair in the toilet. Maybe I should flush it. Or maybe I should, like, you know, if it's shedding, put it in a trash can, the toilet trash can, and stay clean. You know, she cannot admit fault to anything, right? So that's just what made her wedding speech all the more kind of weird and self-serving and just delusional, in my humble opinion. And I also felt as though she was lying when Bartiz asked her if she knew prior to getting up there at the altar that she was going to say no to Cole. Zanab, sweetie, you knew. You rehearsed that prayer. You rehearsed the dragging of Cole. You rehearsed it all. You knew what you were going to do, and you went up there specifically to destroy this man at the end of the day. And that is why your Instagram comments are in shambles. Now, speaking of Zanab's Instagram comments being in shambles, she decided to issue the most passive-aggressive apology that I have ever seen in a while, that really goes to show you her character and her complete and utter lack of self-respect, self-inspection, lack of humility, lack of ability to be wrong, pompous nature, condescending nature. It was horrible. At the end of the day, she humiliated Cole at the altar, and she wound the other girls up. She set them up to bully Cole alongside her at the reunion, bully him into full-blown crying and whatnot. And this is the best that she can give him as an apology. It was a whole ass non-apology. And she turned off the comments because she knew that she was going to get dragged for this BS quote unquote apology that she had the audacity to post up. So here's what she goes. Here's what she says. Cole, I fought for us until I couldn't anymore. I know you know that. I know you know why I said what I said. I know you know what you did. It's okay if you aren't ready to talk about that yet. Wow, Zanab. Get the F over yourself. What about the things that you did that you're still not yet ready to talk about? Like the fact that you lied about this man telling you that you shouldn't be eating some fruit because you were getting big or something like that. When at the end of the day, when we watched that harmless scene, all that happened was that you started snacking on fruit. He started joining you. And then you started snacking on another fruit. And he goes, oh, wait a minute. Like, we're going to have a big dinner. Save your appetite. And then you tell him, oh, I only had a banana and some peanut butter earlier. And he goes, what? Like, why? Like, I offered you a Pokeball. Like, he's genuinely shocked that you have not eaten all day. But you turned that around and tried to make us believe that he basically told you that even that was too much. You know, even 2 calories is too much. You need to slow your roll. And that is not at all what happened. Like, take responsibility, ma'am, please. Anyway, continuing along, she goes, this is the only apology the internet will get. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you weren't in that relationship. I'm sorry you didn't feel what I felt. I'm sorry we don't have the same triggers. I'm sorry me standing up for myself offended you so greatly. I'm sorry you didn't see all the reasons for what I said. I'm sorry you didn't live that with me. I'm sorry that you don't know me. I'm sorry your insecurities are different than my own. I'm sorry your online hate says so much more of you than it ever will of me. I'm sorry Deepti's wedding was a week before mine, long before you or I knew her story. I'm sorry you're attacking my faith. I'm sorry you don't believe me. I'm sorry I know how worthy I am. I'm sorry you have the time to be a keyboard warrior. I'm sorry I'm not a paid actress. I'm sorry I can't cry on demand. I'm sorry you feel manipulated, gaslit, and played. I'm sorry I'm your villain. I'm sorry I'm your bad guy. I promise you I'm not. One thing about me, I choose my words carefully, and I stand by everything I said. Zanab, stop it. Stop it. You misrepresented this. Maybe at least say, listen, I did not intentionally misrepresent Cole in this particular instance. I just misremembered this one, but there have been, you know what I mean? Like at least say something. Like there were other times where he made these comments about my body or this or that. Like perhaps he did. I don't know. I can't definitively say no, but the scene she's talking about, like she got the details right about, you know, eating a banana and peanut butter and, you know, him telling her to not to spoil her appetite, but it was not malicious in the way that she wanted it to be or that she remembered it as being. Which reminds me, also in that scene, what happened? Cole was so enthusiastic about having her family coming over for the wedding and everything. And he's just trying to like plan that, do the logistics with that, because her family lives in England and stuff like that, and all these other like countries and cities or whatnot. And so he's like just trying to figure out the logistics and everything. And he's just so excited. And Zanab isn't even really listening to him in this scene. And she literally tells him that she barely listens when he talks. She only listens to like half of what he says, or she doesn't listen to half of what he says. So it's like, so here you are admitting that you don't even listen when your fiance is talking to you half the time. So how are we supposed to trust anything you say, Zanab? And how disrespectful is it to even tell someone that? I would be upset if my fiance told me that he did not listen to me half the time when I spoke. Like, why? Are my words not important? You know, like, what is that? Then the way she just said it so casually, like it's not problematic, it's not rude, it's not pompous, it's not arrogant, it's not disrespectful. I think it says a lot about her as well. You know, I don't know, Zanab, I'm sorry, girl, but I really do truly believe that you need to work on yourself before getting back out there in the dating world. I think that you are somebody who needs to learn that you're not always right, that you too, you hurt people as well. You know, Cole has literally said since very early on in the show that your passive aggressive attitude beats him down. We saw very early on in the show the way that you choose to punish Cole when you're upset with him with the silent treatment. And just so you know, Zanab, the silent treatment is considered to be toxic. It is considered to be abusive. So you can slow down with this whole, he destroyed me, he hurt me, he did everything. Like, I'm sure he did, and that's awful. But you have to take responsibility for the hurt, the damage that you did as well. And I think that that is what people are so upset at you over. It's just this whole brushing over everything that you've done wrong in favor of painting Cole as the ultimate villain, the ultimate bad guy. Like, why can't you take a step back and say, listen, I messed up as well. It was never intentional, because I don't believe that she's intentionally a bad person. Just the way that I don't believe that Cole is intentionally a bad person. I think that we're not speaking the same language. They just were not a good match, and they just brought out the worst in one another. But one thing I will tell you guys upon doing the rewatch is that Cole started off in this relationship wildly attracted to Zanab, but her kind of nasty, negative, heavy personality wore him down. You see him continuously trying to reach out to her with love and this and that, and be met with passive aggressive rejection and criticism. And when he sees Colleen come by and she's got that beautiful bright smile, that bubbly positive energy that he was looking for, he regrets his decision to leave her for Zanab. And to be honest with you, it doesn't surprise me. I probably would feel the same way if I accidentally left a very positive and happy person to get into a relationship with a negative person who always wants to complain about everything. Their hair, their outfit, they're this, they're that. They don't want to play games. You know, they don't want to swim because they might get wet if they touch the water. You know what I mean? Like, I would be like, oh God, me too. Me too. You know, at the end of the day, I really do hope that one thing Zanab does is issue a real apology to Cole. Zanab, this is not an apology. This is another example of what Cole has been saying about you all along. You're passive aggressive. You're always right. You can do no wrong. Everyone around you is out to get you. No one else in this world can ever be a victim except for you. And that's not healthy. That's truly, truly, truly unhealthy, Zanab. This is what I would consider to be a toxic apology. It's her pretending to take responsibility, but she has not taken any responsibility. She just continues to throw Cole under the bus. Everything is Cole's fault. Everything is Cole's fault at the end of the day. Zanab did nothing wrong. Zanab did not treat Cole like he's a complete idiot throughout their relationship. Zanab did not make passive-aggressive comments towards Cole. Zanab did not go looking to instigate fights with him at every turn in their relationship. It was all Cole. She did nothing wrong. Come on, girl. Give me a break. Anyway, you guys, that does it. I'm still struggling to find a title for this video, but you'll know it when it gets published. There's just so many angles this can take. You know, at the end of the day, this was just wow. this was a roller coaster ride. The way that the note that Zanab left this show on, wow. From going from being like the beloved victim of the season because Nancy was doing too much, okay? But Zanab went from being the beloved victim to like, girl, were you the villain this whole time? Like, what? Ariana, what are you doing here? Like, what? One thing I will say, though, in Zanab's defense was that I really did not appreciate during the reunion the way that Cole was attacking her on choosing to stay with him. When he kept going, well, if I was so bad and terrible and stuff, why did you stay with me? Cole. Victims of abuse, which I'm not saying Zanab is, stay in relationships longer than 7 weeks, the 7 weeks that y'all spent together, okay? And they go through much worse than what you guys went through together. There are many complicated reasons why victims of abuse stay with their abusers or stay in toxic relationships. I'm not saying that you're an abuser, Cole, but there's so many complicated reasons, and I don't think it's okay to accost someone like that. It's a really bad talking point, to be honest with you. But yeah, that is my last kind of gripe about the reunion and about Cole in particular. You guys, how did you feel about Zanab? Did she take you for the roller coaster ride she took me for? Please, I implore you, if you have the time, even if you're only going to watch Cole and Zanab scenes, go back and rewatch the season. You're going to be shocked seeing Zanab in retrospect, knowing what you know now. Wow. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions on our girl in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.